Good morning, everybody. This is Judith Echo. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. I saw President Trump on TV yesterday. Sounds so funny to call him President Trump. And he basically was like, no, I don't think about the American consumer as I push forward in my decision making around these wars, the gas prices, the food prices, it's obvious he doesn't care. And it's obvious that he has an allegiance towards a foreign government more than anybody obviously has had in the last 50 years. I mean, his is obvious. And so I don't believe this war is about a nuclear weapon. And even if they had one, it's not about the U.S.'s safety, right? So I don't know what's going on other than this man is completely incapable of telling the truth. I don't know why anybody had any kind of faith in him at all. But you're hearing more and more people who voted for him regretting it because a lot of those people are really struggling. And I've never understood why Republicans appealed to poor people. And now that I am pretty much politically agnostic, I don't see why anybody thinks a politician is going to come through for them, no matter the party. Both parties are super corrupt. They only agree on one thing, which is there shouldn't be a viable third or fourth party. They make it very difficult to run as an independent. They make it very difficult for us to vote as independents. And, it's all kind of just starting to feel like a big old scam. But whatever. I don't think our salvation comes from politicians or governments. We need to watch this thing self-destruct so we can build something better in its place. We do not have a solid foundation in this country that, utilizes our resources and our tax dollars well to help us. And it's been plainly obvious for a long time that we're spending more and more money outside of our country than inside. I used to be frustrated about it because when I was taking care of my mom and I kept sharing, as you can hear in those older podcasts, like, hey, there are no resources. Like, you're going to have people tell you there's so many resources. It's not. There's no resources. There aren't any resources to help you care for your loved one. What they will do is if your loved one gets hospitalized and comes home with, still injured or still not feeling well, you can enter home health and you or whoever is taking care of you can figure out how to make it all work that way. But there's not a whole bunch of places you can call and get some help. And there's no place to call to get free help. Everything is transactional. Everything costs money. And I used to think that was a mistake or like the government just hadn't gotten to it. But it's obvious it's been deliberate. It's obvious insurance and the government, they do not want to pay for all these baby boomers. And the ones who know have gotten themselves filthy rich so they can take care of their own health. Looking at you, Congress people who have raided the stock market. They know that there's no resources for them, that there are no things that the magic levers that they can pull that someone will show up and give them the critical care that they need for themselves and their loved ones. Yeah, so they're like, hey, fuck it, let's just rob the bank. They're robber barons. That's what they are. The rich are getting richer because they know that this is coming to an end. The glory days of just being able to get Americans to buy multiple cars and multiple houses and pretend like they have all this money or even actually have money. I mean, you could be middle class and be comfortable when I was growing up. There's no way to replicate my childhood on these prices. There's absolutely no way. So when I'm talking to people and I tell them what my childhood was like, what my education was like, they're all looking at me like I grew up some rich kid. I did not. We were a working class, middle class family. And my dad was not interested in my mom working. She finally got him to agree to let her go to work after I started school. Yeah. So for 5 years, we were a single income home, and it worked. It worked. It worked fine because you could afford to live and you could eat real food, and, everything was a treat. McDonald's was a treat. And I remember talking to my dad about some McDonald's. He'd be like, why you even like that? Like, what's so good about a McDonald's? And like the Eddie Murphy joke, he was like, I can make you a hamburger at home. I was like, yeah, but it's not going to taste like McDonald's. I mean, that was a treat. And now we've gotten so saturated that you've got kids growing up only eating McDonald's. They only eat out. That's not right. McDonald's isn't even real food. So a lot of things have changed. Much of it hasn't been for the better, but I do think we're in for a very, very large change again. I don't know what it is. I'm not psychic, although I'm starting to feel psychic because, well, I'm just good at pattern recognition. I called it on TikTok. I didn't delete my account, but I did delete the app. And one of my last posts is, they're not going to keep paying you like they did before. That was part of the reason for the sale. I'm almost certain. People were making great money off of TikTok. And I was like, that's not going to continue under Larry Ellison. And of course, now I'm seeing TikTok after TikTok where people are like, I'm not getting paid. And I'm like, of course you're not. You think an American corporation wants to pay you out for content on TikTok at the rates you all were making it? Hell no. Not even close. They don't want you to make any money off of social media. I can guarantee you they've had a meeting sitting around a table and saying, you know what? We need to cut costs, and paying out creators is just not what we're going to do. Because the previous owners probably found that to be an investment. These people are like, well, fuck it. No. And I bet a lot of people won't leave the platform. But I left it. I deleted it. I don't even plan on returning to turn my profile off. I mean, I want my message to stand like, this app is going to suck. And I called that. But I'm not psychic, but I do know that there's going to be another change because it has to be. We just pointed out yesterday, we've got all these 70, 80, 90-year-old people in Congress. That's problematic. And then we've got all of these elderly people in society, which is fine. I'm not an ageist. I will hopefully one day be elderly. It's a blessing. But right now we have to look at it pragmatically and say, how are we going to sustain and support all of these people? Especially when younger people don't even make as much money as they used to make. It's taking longer and longer to get on your feet, and a lot of kids don't want to leave the house. They grew up great. Why would they leave? It's like your parents want to kick you out of the house, which I'm not even sure that's a great strategy anymore. I would suggest people stay together longer. Multi-generational people living in the same household, it makes more sense financially. And build things together. Don't just sit around and resent each other. Build things, because it's actually a fairly recent phenomenon that everybody would just pick up and move out of their parents' houses and buy their own houses, and then their kids will do the same. Like that's within the last, I would say, 70 to 80 years, which I know that's not recent history to a lot of you all, but in the big scope of humanity, being tribal was the way. That's how you survived. And then this being a super transactional country, they decided, well, we can sell more houses if people leave their parents' houses. We can sell more cars if people leave and move far away from their parents. They'll have to drive. We can sell more cars if they have to move out of the city and move to the suburbs, but their job is still in the city. They'll need to drive there. I mean, so what you're looking at is the destruction of about 60 to 70 years of businesses and corporations deciding what was best for Americans. And now the bill is coming due for real, because we already are looking at 70 million people over 75, I think, by 2028. Not over 75, over 65. So you're going to have 70 million people by 2028. I think that's the number. Google it for your own clarification. But you're going to have 70 million people over 65 within the next couple of years. And the problem with that is a lot of those people aren't going to be healthy. A lot of those people are going to require insurance. They're going to require long-term care. They're going to find out that these insurance premiums they've been paying all this time don't really have a lot of benefit or value. They just cover the basics. My mom had excellent insurance, and it was great. But when it came to like helping to take care of her with the Alzheimer's, not so much. There was not a lot of help there. And from what I understand, there are more and more programs popping up. But A, you have to know about them, and B, you have to qualify for them. And see, sometimes that's where the qualification, that's where the problems lie, in qualification. So you want to be careful. Like please sign up for Refuel. It's a great newsletter. You need to understand the difference between Medicaid and Medicare. Seniors sign up and usually get Medicare. I don't know anybody who didn't get Medicare. But when it comes to paying for things long term, then you switch over to Medicaid. And then Medicaid is not, you're not going to get the best of care with Medicaid. And if your loved one dies with ownership of a home or cars or any assets, Medicaid is going to do something they call clawback. It's a 5-year clawback. I have managed to keep 2 people off of Medicaid, and I'm very thankful for that, because they needed long-term care. They needed a lot of care. And now that I've done a lot of research on my brother's finances, now that it's not being this closely guarded secret by him, he just would never tell you the truth. He would have never qualified for Medicaid. I mean, they basically would have drained all of his earnings, and he would have never qualified. Now, my mom would have qualified, but they would have, demanded the sale of her house and all kinds of stuff, clawed back anything that we would have spent on Medicaid. But here's the problem with it. You're also not getting top care in Medicaid. Some of those facilities are not awesome. And so, I don't know. I thought about doing it just because it would be nice to have more help. But I just couldn't find a facility that I thought was good enough. Even the paid ones I didn't think were good enough. Me and my sister visited a couple of places, and the one place we were leaning towards, my mom wouldn't have probably been able to stay there very long, because she was pretty far advanced in her Alzheimer's before I realized it. You know what I mean? Like, if I had acted on the very early stages, she might have been able to be in a facility for a while if we could have paid for it. But man, that's the thing. You got to figure out how to pay out of pocket. Though in Missouri, independent living for seniors starts around $2,000 to $4,000, and then assisted living goes around $4,000 to $6,000 a month. And then the higher up the food chain you go, the sicker you get. Full-scale nursing in Missouri is around $10,000 to $15,000 a month. And that's a lot of money. I don't know anybody who's saved an extra $120,000 a year for somebody's care. And what if both parents are still alive? So you gotta do some planning. You gotta be able to make some tough decisions. You can't be a sentimentalist. You have to be able to say, look, we can do this and we can't do that. And make a plan. And when it comes time to execute it, do it. That is a skill set. And I actually happen to have it. So I'm very thankful. Which brings me to my next thought. And really quickly, because I think this deserves its own podcast, but I'm talking about all this instability, but I want you to understand that this is the greatest time in the history of America, maybe since frontier times, to start your own thing. You can start your own thing. If there's something that you can do that somebody will pay you money to do, this is the greatest time in the world, because people are looking for bargains. If you know how to do HVAC, you don't have to work yourself to the bone. You can take on as many clients a week as you want. You can work the hours you want. You don't have to get stressed out or tired. And you can help people. They need help and they don't want to pay, these exorbitant prices. If you know how to fix cars, you can take on as many clients as you want. If you want to do mobile car detail, you can do as much or as little as you want. And you don't have to do it every day. You can keep a full-time job, but stack your weekends with earning a little extra cash. This is a great time to build a business. But you need to be disciplined. You need to be focused. And you need to understand that you have to take risks. And I'm not saying go out here and do crazy things, but you can't be risk averse. If you really want to be an entrepreneur, you got to be able to take some chances. You got to be very good at time management. If you're a person that gets easily distracted, keep your full-time job as long as you possibly can and just work it. Don't internalize things. Take the checks and live your best life until that situation exhausts itself, because I don't know how people can feel secure in their jobs. I don't care where you work. I'm not sure how anybody feels secure. But if you do, just work and work and work and mind your own business and don't take anything personally and just take the money. But if you do have a skill that you can do, that you can teach, that you can share, that people will pay you for, this is the time to put it out there in the world and see what happens. Because people are thirsty for knowledge. They're thirsty for innovative ways to make money. They want to pay people fairly without being overcharged for things. And if you're willing to work, you will make good money. And you don't even have to work super hard. I'm telling you, you can just name your price and set your schedule, get clients and customers, and you will find yourself doing a lot and being very successful. I'm not giving you business advice. I'm giving you life advice, and you can take it how you want, and you can do with it what you want. But it is my belief that this is one of the greatest times in the world to be an entrepreneur, because somebody will pay you money for what you're good at. And if you haven't figured it out, I would suggest starting doing that today. But don't sleep on this. You have to be disciplined. You have to be focused, and you have to have excellent time management skills. When other people are tricking off all their time and you're working, that's what I'm talking about. When you do something other than what you say you're going to do, then entrepreneurship is not for you. Because while it sounds fun to everybody to work for yourself, it is stressful at times, and you're pushing yourself. It's sort of like when Tiger Woods was great. And my mom loved Tiger Woods, so I had to watch a lot of Tiger if I was around her. And one thing that was really amazing about him, especially when he won that first U.S. Open, and it was like, this dude his only competition was himself. And that's what it's like being an entrepreneur. Your only competition is you, for real. The only person pushing you is you, because you don't have a person in another cubicle or an office down the hall to compete with. You're really just pushing yourself to results. And that's how you're going to win. It's because so many people won't push themselves. The winner's circle is not crowded, y'all. It's not. There are a lot of people who will never be on in the winner's circle because they're not willing to do the things you have to do to win. And I'm not talking about anything nefarious. I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about working. And I don't mean grind yourself to the bone. I mean practical, methodical, predictable, pragmatic work. someone will pay you for something that you know. They just will. And you can do well by yourself doing that. But you simply have to be disciplined, and you have to take calculated risks on yourself, and you have to have the best time management. If you can do all of that, I will see you in the winner's circle. I'll be waving at you inside the winner's circle. Yeah? Have an amazing day. Happy May 13th.